Welcome to our Brevard News Focus. My name is Kevin Jeffrey, your moderator, along with investigative reporter Stale Bailey and our guest for today, Ruth Kaufhold from the Citizens Defending Freedom. Our focus on this episode is the Titusville City Council November 26th meeting, and it was a doozy. So Ruth, I want to introduce you and just tell me a little bit about yourself before we get started. And the Citizens Defending Freedom, what is that?
Citizens Defending Freedom is a group of people that, after the 2020 election, two business owners went over to Mar-a-Lago and they confronted the Republican caucus and said, so what happened and what are you going to do about it? So basically the answer that they got was, we don't know and nothing. So that was not satisfactory to two business owners from Polk County, Florida and Texas that needed to see what their government was going to do. You know, how it was going to work, and they did not expect it to be stolen, basically. They believed that the 2020 election was stolen. So they created Citizens Defending Freedom, a grassroots organization that is, our mission is to equip, empower, and educate American citizens to stand for and preserve freedom for themselves and future generations, to resolve breaches of freedom and liberty through local awareness, local light, and local action. So what we need to do is restore our governments back to the people and back to God.
Do you think that the average person, and it strikes you as you look at some of the things that are going on in Brevard County, that the average person doesn't realize the amount of power that the citizens have?
Correct. I totally believe that. They have no idea that they should be owning Article 1 of our Constitution. Article 1 is we the people. Article 1 talks about representative government. That's where we get our constitutional republic from. And we also get it from Exodus and Deuteronomy. It tells us how to be a government. So our founding fathers studied for 12 years, enlightened before the Mayflower even showed up, to understand how to create a government in the New World.
So do you think that where did it happen that the citizens lost their grip on the fact that the citizens have the power,
Right.
and that the people in office are just representatives of the people?
Well, I think it started, personally, I believe that it started in the 1800s after John Quincy Adams died. That was the last of the founding era. And then the secularists and the enemy basically started ramping up, started taking over our universities. And so after World War II, citizens became complacent. They go, oh, we're done. We won the war. We're good. And we don't have to do anything more. Well, that was over 75 years ago. And the secularists and the enemy has been very consistent in their attack on conservative people and conservative values. Our Bible was taken out of our schools. We can't talk about certain things in schools, or somebody's going to get, persecuted. People go, persecuted, that's really a strong word. I said, is it? I said, when you sit there and tell a little girl she can't pray over her food, that's kind of persecuting a child. That's kind of, a little bit of child abuse from a, somebody's standpoint. But at the end of the day, we've had God removed from our county and our country.
So when you look at you had the opportunity to go to the city of Titusville City
Yes,
Council meeting.
some people invited me to come and witness what's going on in Titusville. Now, we had given each elected official a gift, and we're still in the process of doing it. So if you haven't gotten your gift yet, I'll be there to see you. But we gave them a gift.
Included in that gift is what?
Is a Bible, a Constitution, a card from myself, and Tapestry Covenant Ministries. We got together and said we need to provide all of our elected officials the absolute tools that they need to govern over the positions that they were now elected, to do. So these are the things that we believe should be first and foremost at the top of any government, is we the people using the Bible.
Do you believe that your average average politician has actually read the Constitution?
I do not. We have our curriculum. We use the Patriot Academy curriculum, biblical citizenship, constitutional life, and several other curriculum. But for the most part, it has been widely known that most law schools do not teach the Constitution article by article, one line at a time in that Constitution the way we do. We have a citizen's guide to the Constitution that we give that citizen the ammunition they need to know when something is wrong, when something is unconstitutional, and what's happening, so that they, if it happens to them, that they will know that they're being persecuted or their rights are being violated.
Well, and the citizens in Titusville obviously saw that. So now, a couple of years ago, 2022, 82% of the citizens voted for a measure to enact a clean water amendment into the charter.
Correct.
The city council has been absolutely steadfast against it, which is interesting because it tells me that, well, a couple of things. They are really against the citizens. Two, they obviously don't know the Constitution. They obviously don't know. You had an opportunity to witness this yourself.
Yes.
What were your first thoughts as you went to the city council meeting on the 26th? What struck you?
Well, one of the things, they changed the order of the agenda first off, so that they had the council reports first, where they normally have them at the end. So when I read the agenda, I was kind of looking for an opportunity to ask them these questions about how they were going to handle this, because I thought that it would be an opportunity for this brand new council to start a brand new day. I said, this is a brand new day for you. This is a good opportunity for you to clean up this mess that was created by your predecessors, the previous council. And so what really struck me in my investigation of this was that this situation's already gone to a judge. It's gone to 2 judges. They've been instructed.
Yeah,
you must do this.
But hold on,
Yeah.
Jolynn Nelson said earlier in the day that one of the judges was too incompetent, and they didn't understand what they were doing because that judge was 86 years old. And is that hubris or what? I mean,
I don't
who does
understand,
that?
first of all, how you be so disrespectful, first of all, to your elder, second, to a judge. I don't care how old that judge is, but he got that position because of his expertise and his qualifications. So that judge would know more than any city council at this point that I know of.
Well, she didn't think so, but anyway, we
I didn't witness that comment.
Oh, yeah.
From her, but
It was astonishing. I mean, I think there was.
An audible gasp.
Yeah, it was. I mean, people were just shocked.
yes,
Who
how could you
says
say
stuff
that to
like
a
this?
judge?
Says stuff, but much less a sitting city council member.
Right, right. And there's a lot of people that look at that and go, I don't even know how you sue the citizens, first of all. Because when people brought it to me, they go, did you know they sued citizens in Titusville? And I go, well, how do you even do that? I
Right.
don't even know. So did you tax them more? How did you, or how are you doing it even? That was my question going to be to them, but previous to me speaking, Megan.
Yeah, Council Member Moscasco proposed a motion to certify the 2022 election results and protect the rights of the citizens. There was no second motion. So you were sitting in that room. You actually spoke at that city council meeting. So what was your observations from that moment?
Well, first of all, I thought it was very disrespectful of the remaining council members not to even second the motion for a discussion. Okay?
So that would be protocol.
Well, that would be respectful.
Okay.
I would say, especially with new council, a new city council just starting out. This is like their second meeting or something that night after they've been sworn in. So you would think that someone would at least second the motion to bring up the discussion.
And there were 2 senior members on that council that could have
Correct.
done that. You could say that the other 2,
Right.
the new ones, did not understand maybe that protocol or that respect.
Correct.
But there was 2 senior council members that were there, or at least one, I think. Jolynn was missing. They could have
Right.
done that, right?
Right, they could have done it. I've been witness to other city councils where I'm only seconding to start the discussion. That's what they say if they second it. That doesn't mean they're approving it. That doesn't mean they're for it or against it. It just means they want to provide opportunity for discussion and in some cases provide the citizens public comment during the discussion. So it all depends on how they run that meeting. So in this case, Mayor Connors did not allow for any of that. So I was a little shocked by that to say, okay, you had the opportunity to get rid of this mess. You chose not to. So it's on all the remaining members in that room, plus the predecessor council people.
I was going to say, speaking of the mess, how do you think that we got to this point?
I can't really say to that because I'm so shocked that they even sued the city. I mean, but some of the comments that I've been reading and some of the articles that I've seen, that it's very insulting to say the citizens didn't know what they were voting for. I said, wait, 86% in 2022 didn't know what they were voting for, and the 5 of you are the ones that can judge that?
That's kind of where we are.
I'm sitting there looking at that going, really?
But they've also come up with other reasons. So when that reason didn't work, they went on to trying to compare it to an Orange County charter that was actually the rights of nature. It wasn't even the right to clean water.
Right.
And then they tried to, use, well, there's going to be frivolous lawsuits, and that's why we're protecting the citizens. So what is your perspective about them saying that they're trying to protect the citizens?
Oh, exactly. But they got their answer from the judge. They said, I see nothing wrong with the way this ordinance has been crafted.
Two judges.
Two judges. They looked at it. They saw nothing wrong with it. They saw nothing wrong with it when they put it on the ballot. So I still am wondering where council gets the idea that they should not do their job, for one. And now we're looking at a constitutional violation, a possible constitutional violation by the executive branch of the Titusville City Council. So the Titusville City Council is the executive branch in this case. So you have representative government at the same time where the city council is also representing the citizens.
Purportedly.
Okay.
Purportedly.
But at this point in time, the judicial branch also has spoken and said, this is not right what you're doing, council. You need to add this to the charter just like it was written in the original documentation for the 2022 election.
So this is more than hubris. I mean, this has gotten into a constitutional issue, and it's really, if you just set aside the clean water amendment
Portion of it.
I mean, it's bigger than that anymore.
Right.
It's about whether or not the citizens have a right to vote, and the right and the responsibility of the city council to actually follow the dictates of the citizens,
Right.
who are, according to the Constitution,
Voted
are
them
the
in.
ones who are in control, right?
Exactly
And
right.
they are saying to the citizens, we don't care about what you say. That's pretty much what they're saying.
That's pretty much how they're acting. I mean, actions speak louder than words all the time. So again, this particular version of what happened, which nothing happened, they had the opportunity to do something, and they didn't. So regardless of what they're actually, quote, thinking, by not even giving her a second for a discussion or even reacting to it at all, tells me that I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that we're a new council, we need to talk about this, we need to have a workshop. None of that was said. Because I come from Palm Bay, so we've had, a situation where the council cannot speak together, because that would violate sunshine law. So they would have to have a workshop so that the public can see what's happening.
They had an opportunity there,
Yeah,
right?
they had every opportunity
to
do that right then and there. And they could have even said, well, since we're a new council, we might want to have a workshop about this.
Correct.
So that to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, you might want to do that, but they had no inkling that I saw of even reacting to what she said. All they did was said, no.
Do you think that the mayor knows why he didn't even suggest this moving forward? Like, for instance, during his campaign, he was saying that, well, it's because this isn't really about drinking water. He had For Clean Water on all of his campaign signs, but then he was going around the community trying to make it another issue. Does that make sense? Have you ever seen that happen before?
I've seen some people that, put out things on their campaign paraphernalia and then say, well, when we drill down, we'll talk about it then, right? So all these things should have been on his website, and I haven't gone to look at that yet in my investigation or my due diligence. I haven't looked at that in the nth degree to say if he's actually looking at it from the citizens' point of view, because the fact that he's a new city council member for this time frame, all of this would have been accessible to him. He would have known the judge's decision. He would have known what's happening, or should have, and said, look, we need to drill down on this. I'm brand new to this job now. And I put this on my campaign slogan or whatever about the clean water. Let me look into it, and we'll get a workshop going or so. He had every opportunity to say that. He didn't say any of that.
Have you seen a situation like this ever before?
I don't. Like I said, I don't know how you sue citizens. To bring a lawsuit against the citizens. I don't understand.
The judge advocate that looked at it said that there is no case law anywhere for what they're doing.
Right.
So they're out here on this ledge, and they are doing things that are unprecedented.
Right. Right.
I've never seen this
nothing.
before.
And I could be wrong. I'm not everybody. I want to say to everybody, don't believe me. Do your own research. Do your own research in all of these things, because for the citizens of Titusville to be basically ignored and disrespected, 82%. That wasn't president.
Right. You don't see that in very many elections. I can't think of many elections where
just this
you
election
see 82%.
is where we had Brevard had 82% of the total electorate. Okay,
Correct.
Come out to vote. That was unprecedented in Brevard County for
Right.
the 2024 election. For the 2022 election, when we were talking about primaries and things like that, we barely saw 20%, 15% across any county. Just for the people to get out and vote, regardless of what they voted for. So to have that many citizens come out to vote for this amendment or this charter amendment is unprecedented in and of itself for Brevard County.
How important is this from a constitutional point of view?
This is very important because of the fact that when I spoke, I gave my 3 minutes and I said, you understand that you work for them. Leaders are servers. When you look up leadership, you're serving someone. You're doing that to help them, because when you rise to that occasion to serve, you're serving the citizens. So it's servitude. It's not, I'm all that. I'm the tyrant. I am not. I'm supposed to be a citizen leader, servant leader. So that means I look at you and I say, how can I help you? So like when somebody asked me to come to Titusville and look and see what's going on, I'm serving the citizens. I'm
Correct.
serving my fellow citizens here in Brevard County. Even though I don't live in Titusville, I was asked to come help. I don't kind of go around sticking my nose into other people's business without,
freedom is not relegated to
No.
just outside of Titusville.
Right. Freedom doesn't stop just
Right.
because, Titusville City Council doesn't want to do what the citizens want them to do. It's not their choice. It's their job to do it.
What are the implications if this is allowed to continue? What are the implications of this for the citizens of the city of Titusville?
I can't really answer that right now. Haven't really looked at what's next, because I need to figure out where the next step is for a citizen, because right now it's kind of stalwarted. It's kind of hit up against a wall of well, the citizens don't have enough money. Usually it's about lawsuits.
Correct.
So the citizens don't have enough money to do this, or the citizens don't have enough money to do that, and we'll just kind of ignore it and it'll just go away. That's usually how some politicians work, in that they'll just not do anything. They'll just let it sit for a long time. It's kind of like the last legislative session that I went to. We were talking about election integrity. Well, the Florida legislature didn't want to talk about election integrity.
So
They just let it go. We're not putting that on the calendar.
so then it's up to the citizens to, because they try to run out the clock, right, and just
Right.
hope that they wear the citizens down, right?
Yeah, and this is where we need to bring citizens together and say, you voted for this. Please, stand up, because that's what our mission is all about at Citizens Defending Freedom, is that we want to equip our citizens to stand for and preserve freedom for themselves.
Is it reasonable to say that if they do not implement this, then there's another measure that will come up down the line that they'll say the same thing about, right?
Correct. It could set a precedent that you don't want. You
So
don't want
if-
even in this county.
If this is allowed to stand,
Correct.
because it's not, again, just set the water amendment to the side. The issue is, do the citizens have the right to vote
Right.
and have that ratified?
Yeah.
And so they're using a lot of they're trying to do a bait and switch, is what
Yes.
I'm trying to say, and try to make it look like that, getting into all this other stuff, when that's really not the issue. The issue is constitutionally, do the citizens have a right to be able to vote on a measure and expect that the city council will implement that?
Correct. That
Right?
is absolutely correct.
So if that's not the case, and so if they can say here that what you voted on, we're not going to implement, what stops them from saying that about any other measure?
I wouldn't think anything if they don't see the citizens standing up for their rights in their own city.
I mean, you talk about the citizens getting involved, and one thing that I've observed going and being involved, I was also asked to come to the city. I have family, I have friends that live in Titusville, and they have been fighting since 2022, actually longer than
Longer than
2022.
that, because in order to put it on the ballot, they had to do a lot of work.
Yes, they did. They had to walk, they had to get signatures, they had to talk to people. There was a lot of work that was put into it, and this wasn't a situation that just came out of the blue where they were like, we're just going to throw this Clean Water Act on your... There were issues that led up to the citizens wanting to take their power back.
Right.
And those issues included sewage spills, fish kills, manatee unusual mortality events. And so it's not like this just came out of thin air. This was a way for the citizens. They felt that the city council was not listening to them. And they continued to talk about how infrastructure was important to them and all of these issues, and they were feeling unheard.
Right.
And they were dealing with transparency issues and other things on top of that. And so they did this amendment. And so to those citizens, as somebody who is an advocate for citizens, how do you, what would you say to them right now to keep them motivated and to keep them going? Because they're still in this. It has been years later, and they're still going up to that podium, and they're still talking to the council, and they're still begging them to stop suing them now and to honor their votes.
Right.
What would you say to them?
Keep doing it, because we're going to have to look at all the other alternatives that are out there to make sure that we, talk to the city attorney for one, and talk to the city manager for two, to make sure that some of this shouldn't be happening. It's not something that is normal, that you just ignore what your boss told you. So if
In a
your
real war, you would get
boss-
fired, right?
Correct. So if your boss told you something to do and you didn't do it over and over and over, they're not going to let it go for 2 years and blah, blah, blah. If you don't do it within 6 months, you're done. Most, jobs are like that. So it's like, this is something that's a breach of freedom in Titusville. I truly believe that. I've never seen it. I started looking into it, and I was like, who does that?
We're at the edge here in Titusville. This is almost a constitutional crisis, because it's really at the forefront of who's in control here.
Right.
Are the people in control? Has the government run amok? And now they have the right to tell the citizens whatever they want. I mean, it's really a constitutional crisis. Is that hyperbole to say that?
Yeah, I, from my standpoint, I've been teaching the Constitution here in Brevard County for over four or 5 years now, and teaching over 200 students. This is something that I tell my students all the time. You must own Article 1. You are the one that owns Article 1. You are the people. Article 1 is all about you telling your representatives what you want. They don't have a personal opinion. If you got elected to a seat, regardless of what seat it is, your personal opinion means nothing. You have to take the majority opinion of your representatives
Correct.
that voted for you.
Correct. And this is why, it's a constitutional republic. They are supposed to be representing the will of the people.
Correct.
And they have abdicated that
They've
responsibility.
abdicated that. So there's kind of two situations here where they also act as the executive branch, Article 2, and they're also Article 1. So it's a conflict of interest, really, because they think that they're representing the citizens when they're really not.
The line between that is
Very
you
thin.
become a tyrant. You become a tyrant,
Tyrant,
right?
yeah.
At that point, I mean, when you are not really concerned about the citizens and you believe that you're in control, how can the citizens contact you, and how can they get your information to be able to relate to you?
If you go out to www.citizensdefendingfreedom.com, and you can sign up for my newsletter, and it'll contact me. And if you just put in there that you're from Titusville, I'll understand.
Okay, Ruth, thank you so
You're
much,
welcome.
and we'll have you back on because we have a lot to talk about here in Titusville. And again, that's Brevard News Focus, and we've been focusing on the Titusville City Council, the November 26th meeting, and we hope that we have given you a lot of information to understand the dynamics of what's going on and how important it is that you take back the power from the people of the city of Titusville, and that you, the people, according to the Constitution, it's we the people. All of the power belongs to you, the people. And when you take back that power, it's only then that you will be able to clean up the corruption that not only plagues Titusville, but all over this great state and great country of ours. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time on Brevard News Focus.